Welcome to the Light of Sirio podcast. My name is Dori Fari and I will speak with a realized spiritual master about his views on life and the topic of spirituality.
Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I bow down to you. Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I love you. Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I adore you.
So we are now at episode 6 of season 5 and we just ended here in the Sanmani Ashram the intense autumn meditation retreat with Master Sirio, which has been a truly uplifting and charging up wonderful experience again. The best retreat, as we say always by the end of the retreat, that this retreat was the best because we just had it. So thank you, dear Master, for this precious gift that you gave to us, that we could enjoy uplifting meditation sittings and enlightening satsangs in your company personally. So thank you again.
What can I say? I say that we make ourselves available and then the grace flows. That's how it goes. We don't do anything. Supreme Sadguru's power does everything. That's what I believe in. That's what I experience.
But it has been anyway a very wonderful experience, which I can only recommend to anybody to try once in a lifetime. And if anyone is interested in the next programs, you can contact me at the siriopodcast@gmail.com or visit the siriosatsang.com website. And also, those who couldn't come shouldn't be desperate, because you can always try the meditations following the daily guidance meditation podcast, in which daily is published a new episode, guided meditations with Master Sirio, following which you can do your silent meditation. So I think it's a great opportunity to try to follow the guidance of a realized master. And those who haven't yet seen, now the volume 3 of Sirius magazine is available in downloadable PDF form on the website, because before it was just as a public link, but now we made it available that you can download it for free if you visit the already mentioned siriosatsang.com website. And you're welcome. If anyone would like to have it in paperback copy, you can just contact me again at the siriopodcast@gmail.com, and then you can receive it via post. And what else to say? So let's continue with your story, dear Master. If I'm not mistaken, in the previous episode we reached up to a certain point, the 2 episodes before, in regarding your spiritual life, we reached up to 1984, when Sanji visited again the Sanmani Ashram in Italy, in Tuscany, and he gave a wonderful program here. And then in the last episode you were talking also about a very important, more personal aspect of your life, how the master power directed your life towards Ayurvedic therapies, and how your life was shaped by situations, and how you found your profession as an Ayurvedic therapist and teacher as well. And so we said we would talk about going back to 1984, starting from there. Then you tell us more about your spiritual life, your experiences with Sanji.
As I've been saying other times already, practically went to India every year because I found it always so very beneficial. For me, meeting with my master was always a very uplifting event, a very transformative phenomenon. This, I believe, it was because of the special link, affinity, which was there between me and this master. I can say that I really had a very deep affinity with him, like at a cellular level. I really felt that his innermost being was very similar to mine. And this is a very great blessing because I've seen that not many people have this kind of affinity with the master they follow. Some people follow master because maybe they have a family member that follows this master, or they have friends. So they associate with the master because it's a nice situation, they like it, they get some benefit, they like to attend the programs maybe, they like the teachings, maybe they like the theoretical aspect. Of course, they like to meditate with this master because the meditation is always anyway better than when non-meditating with him.
Well, meditation should be the core, the central point of the association to a master. Or am I wrong?
It's not the only thing. Also, the Satsang, the teachings, must really resonate with your understanding of life, with your psyche, with your way of being. Because if the teachings do not resonate with you, that's also an impediment. So, as meditation, you must feel benefited when you meditate with the master, but also when you listen to his satsang, the way he expresses the teachings must be very appealing to you. That's also very important. You must like the face of the master, you must like his eyes, you must like the person. There are many aspects to, at least in my understanding and in my experience, there are many aspects important in the relation with the master to make it really functional, to make it really effective, pleasant working. So with Sanji I had very much of this affinity. Not so much at a cultural level, because of course he was Indian, he was born in the Sikh religion, and culturally he was very much shaped by the religion in which he was born. He had the, let's say, the history and the teachings of the Guru Granth Sahib, the Holy Scripture of the Sikh, very much ingrained in his psyche, in his being. So he was very much shaped according to that. Although then later on he became a Sant Mat follower, which is, let's say, a continuation of the Sikh tradition. But it differs in so many ways. It's a much more open way of looking at reality, of looking at the phenomenon of the living master, because the Sikh religion at some point refuses any living master. They become very dogmatic about this, that after Guru Gobind Singh there is no living master, so they refuse and they fight against any possible living master. But followers of Sant Mat, they believe that a living Sadguru is a phenomenon which is always present on earth. So this, of course, differs. But also, anyway, in India, many of the Sant Mat masters, when they give satsang, they keep commenting on the Guru Granth Sahib. So the teachings is very much the same, apart from the fact of the living master and some other details. Because Sant Mat followers, they believe that all religions are valid, all religions are way to God, and that there is no one which is superior to the other. So that's basically the difference, but the teachings are very much the same.
Something came into my mind when you said that you had this feeling of communion or unity with Sanji, but not at the cultural level. It came into my mind, you told me once when there was a retreat here in the Sambhani ashram, and there was an Indian chef, cook, who was preparing the meals for everybody, and you said, then Sanji was so happy, oh good, we have Indian food. So somehow it's not only being a Sikh, but somebody who is European, Italian, I don't want to degrade it, but comes from the culture of the pasta, pizza, and certain kind of vegetables, and somebody who is Indian and comes from the culture of sabji, pahora, and hot food, and curry and things. So it's two different tastes, no?
Well, yeah, besides being a Sikh, born in the Sikh religion, he was also an Indian, of course. So his taste, as far as food and is concerned, was very much Indian, of course. That doesn't differ. For Hindus, Sikh and Muslims, Indians, they more or less eat the same, you know.
Yeah, that's the cultural difference is something interesting also, if you think how we are shaped as we become a human, that how we are born, beginning from the words that the first words our mom whispers into our ears, sings to us little songs, lullabies, and even the taste of the mother milk, because it depends also on what the mom is eating, and the meals that our mom prepares, and then this also contributes to our so-called mental scheme, or how to say, like the way of being.
Mental makeup.
Shaping our likings, and maybe even our way of thinking a little bit.
Sure, definitely. Way of thinking is very much shaped by the culture that we are born in and we grow in. So anyway, I must say in the beginning I was very much fascinated by everything which was Indian, because I had these two Indian gurus, Master Kirpal and Sanji. So since I love them, I also love their nation. I like their belief system, like culture from which they came. They were both born in the Sikh religion, so they had very much that mentality. And the stories I heard in Satsang related by both of them, they were very much of that kind. Stories about the Sikh gurus, their life, their sufferings, their troubles, their being persecuted, their martyrdom, and so on and so forth. So my head was full with all these stories coming from the satsang which I was listening from them. So my mind was also, by and by, became also very much shaped that way. And all the period I spent with Sanji, I was very much into this attitude that his culture was my culture, his mentality was my mentality. But later on, when he died, and eventually I stopped going to India as often as I was doing before, and I was not so much exposed anymore to the satsang, live satsang, which he was giving when I was on his retreat. By and by, I went back much more to what I am, the culture from which I come, the mentality I had before I met this path. So all of these emerged again in me, came up,
But you also had in your life by this time Ayurveda. But if I remember well, you studied Ayurveda in the 90s, right?
Yes, in the 95 I began studying Ayurveda.
Yeah, so it was towards the end of Sanji's mission. His life, I mean.
Yes, his life, yes.
But still Ayurveda then became a prominent part of your life.
Well, yes, Ayurveda was definitely a helping factor in broadening my perspective. I was so much focused on my master that for me it was even very difficult to listen to a teacher, an Ayurvedic teacher, giving his lessons about Ayurveda. I couldn't even look at this person really, because I was used to look to Sanji when he was talking. Now looking to this Dr. Bhagwan Das, it was not very appealing for me. So I actually in the beginning, when I went to the first lessons, before I decided to take up the course, by the end of the first day, I thought, no, it's not for me, really. I can't listen to this man talking these things. And I just go back home and I don't take this course. But then in meditation, early in the morning, I sat in meditation, and really the revelation came very strong from inside that, no, this is what you have to do now. So you do it. So I took up this course, and of course there I learned a lot about Ayurveda, and Ayurveda is very much imprinted by the Hindu philosophies, no?
Yes.
So this helped me to see things from other perspectives also, not just the Sant Mat perspective, or the Guru Granth Sahib perspective, or Sarbachan, which is the holy book of the Swamiji Maharaj, and which is very much considered on the part of the masters. So I could see things from other philosophical points of view, like Vedanta or Samkhya philosophy, and other philosophical systems of ancient India. So this broadened very much my perspective and my mentality. So it helped me to amplify my knowledge and perspective of life, yes. And of us human beings, because also, of course, Ayurveda is a medical system. Besides being a philosophical system, it's also a medical system. So I acquired a lot of knowledge about how the body functions, and the healing system of Ayurveda, how to treat the several diseases, and mainly the therapies anyway, which I was specialized in.
Well, and my knowledge, of course, is not as deep as yours in nothing in this field. But as you said, that Sant Mat is somehow beyond the Sikhism, like more broad, more open. Then also Ayurveda somehow is, at least it appears to me like this, maybe I'm wrong, but to me it feels like this, that it's more open. It's like a little bit like beyond the usual Indian culture of the nowadays. Because like just a little example, now that in India they are so keen on the hot and spicy food, and in Ayurveda it's not contemplated, it's not advised. The hot and the spicy, I mean specific spices used as medicines for certain things, and using according to your body condition. And somehow like Ayurveda goes back to the roots before this Indian mental makeup took shape, and therefore it's somehow more open.
Well, I can say that Ayurveda is a medical system. So it mainly concentrates on disease, nature of disease, and how to cure them. So it's not so much about habits and culture, food habits, and so forth. It is about what's needed to be healthy. So in the Indian kitchen, yes, chili and many other spices are used, which maybe in Ayurveda they are not advised. But of course, spices in Ayurveda they're very much considered, because apart from chili, which they don't like and they refuse, they say is not good. A little bit, yes, but not like Indians do. They eat incredible amount of chili, and they have also health issues because of this, because it brings definitely health issues. But there are other spices which are not, let's say, harmful for the health, which are very much appreciated, like cumin, coriander, cinnamon, cardamom, cloves. All these kind of spices are very much taken into consideration. They are medicines for Ayurveda.
Yes.
And they are very good blend of all these spices in order to make them more effective and more strong in healing certain health issues.
Well, but Ayurveda then also is not. It's a medical system, but it also gives or advises a lifestyle, a certain lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle.
Yes, of course.
Like not just curing diseases, but like advising the practice of yoga, pranayama, and even a healthy way of thinking. And even they advise in Ayurveda listening to Satsang, spiritual teachings, treat yourself, do meditation. And
yes,
it's part of Ayurveda.
Yes, it's a medical system which takes into consideration ailments of the body, of the mind, and of the spirit. So, of course, it aims at curing, healing physical problems, mental problems, and spiritual problems, because they understand that all these three aspects have to go together in order to be healthy. And moreover, to be really healthy, you have to meditate, because from the health of the spirit then also depends the health of the mind and of the body.
But you told me, I don't remember if you mentioned in the podcast, but also Sanji was an Ayurvedic therapist.
Well, that's why I became interested in Ayurveda. The first time I heard the word Ayurveda or Ayurvedic medicine, it was in 1974 when I was in Savanashram with Master Kirpal, because during this Unity of Man conference there was a medical center where people could go get free medicines, and mostly it was homeopathic, because Master Kirpal was very, let's say, keen about homeopathic medicine. He had studied homeopathic medicine, and he liked that. Then there were also some allopathic medicines and Ayurvedic medicines. So that was the first time I heard Ayurveda. The word Ayurveda.
Interesting. I never knew that Master Kirpal was he studied or he was talking about homeopathy. Interesting.
His brother, especially Jot Singh, he was very much into homeopathy. And of course he also. Not as much as his brother maybe, but also very much. So at Savanashram, the main medical system which was in use was homeopathic. Then, yes, I came to know that Sanji had been a kind of an Ayurvedic therapist before becoming a Santmat master, let's say a master. So I became curious and I began reading books about Ayurveda. Even before I went to Florence to take up this course, which Dr. Bhagavan Das was giving, I was already reading a number of books on Ayurveda. So I had already a certain knowledge of the system. Although when I took up this course and I studied with Dr. Dash, everything became much more clear, much more understandable for me, because it's a cryptic kind of language, which somebody has to decodify. And Dr. Dash was definitely a good teacher in this sense, because he had a long-standing experience in Ayurveda, both in theory and in practice. So that's how it began, and that's how it went on. So it has been very important for me, this Ayurvedic knowledge, and also the practice which I have done with people, in order to come to know very deeply the system, the body system, the energetic level of each individual with whom I had to deal, the differences between the individuals, which when you treat people, they come out very strongly. So I've been learning a lot about human beings, how we are, how we function at a physical level, energetical level, and spiritual level also, because there also you feel very much the level of evolution of each individual, how much their spiritual aspect is manifested, open, active, or dormant. And I could feel it so very well. So through that experience, really amplified very much my knowledge, and also my understanding of we human beings. It was a very important practice for me, very important aspect.
Yeah, I understand. And when you said that you felt, I don't remember precisely the word which you used, but like a strong, I think you said there's incredible affinity even on the cellular level with Sanji. Was it more prevalent, or did you really feel it when you met him in person, or also at a distance?
Well, once I came to know him, it was always with me. I mean, this affinity with him, I always felt it. Whether I was with him or I wasn't with him, because anyway, I was always linked with him in meditation and listening to his satsangs. So his teachings, this person was very present in my life, whether I was with him or not with him. So yes, there was always this affinity. But as I said, after he died, and I went on with my experiences in life, then I felt very deeply that I had to be more and more myself, and actualize fully my own experience, understanding, and way also of expressing the teachings of this path. I felt more and more that it has to be personalized. So by and by, I went back to myself, let's say, to my culture, to who I am. And I really tried, I can't say I tried, but it happened, that I made Santmat my own way.
The Sirio mat.
Well, any master makes his own makes the path in his own way, makes the path personal.
I think it's a problem when the disciples take it on themselves that they have to make or shape the path according to their mental makeup, in the sense like the master is, I don't know how to say, like more connected is the human pole, and the master can shape the path to his or her form. But I don't think the disciple can, because yes, of course, it is taught to us to have our own personal experience, which arrives to us in a definite personal way, but still, this is the master through whom the grace is conveyed to us.
That's why I say, first of all, I was listening for 25 years to first Master Gopal and then Sanjay, to their way of delivering the teachings. And I really took it the way they gave them, and I really shaped my mind, my knowledge, my point of view according to their point of view. And in the beginning, it must be like this. If a person pretends that after being initiated he shapes his own path of Santamata without knowing anything, so that's a pure ego trip. No, first you have to listen and listen and listen to the teachings of the Master and really absorb them the way they give them, the way the Master gives them. And that's what I did. I really absorbed deeply the way Sanjay gave the teachings and Master Gopal gave the teachings. But then, by and by, I came to the point of making the path my own path. The same it was with Ayurveda. First I listened to Dr. Bhagwan Das and other doctors with whom I studied and absorbed the teaching the way they gave them, trying to understand what they were teaching and make it my own. But later on, as I began practicing, I refused many things which they were saying because I didn't see them practical. I didn't find them in my practice. So those things which didn't correspond to what I was doing, or which were not really useful, I just gave them up. And I just kept those things which were effective and working. So it must be everything, about everything like this. A person studying music with a teacher and he learns the method from the teacher and he really tries to emulate and go by the method. But once he has learned to play the instrument, he will make his own composition, he will develop his own music, which won't be the same as the teacher from whom he learned.
Well, then it would be a problem in this case, no? If it's the same.
It's about everything.
Well, but the problem also is that when we don't know when we are ready, and I think many people don't know. I just was thinking some personal experiences which I had with people, conversations, and I noted that often people tend to think that it's not really the proper expression that they know better or pretend to know better, but something like that. That then you know that certain things I keep from the teachings which are appealing and easy for me, and certain things that I don't do because I refuse it because they are uncomfortable for me. Then I think the path is not effective. Because like if there was a medicine, no, then they give you a medicine of 2 components and then you take only one because the other one you don't like. Because baby, it's a bit bitter. So.
Yes. Yeah, it's similar to that, yes. People, in my understanding, as far as the master is alive, you listen to the master and try to grab the teachings just as much as possible, 100% the way he gives them. As you grow in your experience and you go on in life, but this means many years of experience, then by and by you try to make it your own, try to mold it according to your very inner self, your very inner being. And it doesn't mean that you refuse teachings, but you shape them according to your way of being. You express them when you talk about the teachings in your own language, not copying the way your master used to give them. You may quote from the master from time to time. He said this about this, he said this about that. But you have to be able to, in order to make the teachings really appealing, you have to be able to express them in your own way, but in a very competent way, not like a foolish person that talks nonsense,
Sometimes
it has to be very coherent, very logic, and very much to the point, very effective.
I remember sometimes you use the term like not being like a parrot.
Yes, not being like a parrot, although in the beginning one has to be like a parrot. I've been very much like a parrot with my master. But later on, as I grew up, after, let's say, 20, 25 years of listening and absorbing and so forth, then by and by, I made them my own. Yes, and I expressed them in my own way.
You became a swan then from the parrot.
That's a good example. Yes, that's a good. Yeah.
Well, but also like one so much absorbs the teachings of the master, and as you said, you really made them your own. Then it becomes one with us on a cellular level. Like during this retreat when we were doing yoga together with other Satsangis, we said to breathe deeply, to inhale this good unpolluted air, to inhale the air of the ashram, the prana of the ashram, but then also one inhales the master power and the teachings. And I believe really that these things appear also on a cellular level, all the everything, the bhajan singing, all the food that we eat in the ashram, the parshad, the darshan, and the teachings that we listen, because we look with our eyes on the master, with our ears we hear the master, and everything is elaborated by our brain. And it's like writing a program into the brain, then leaves a very deep imprint in a lucky case. Because then sometimes people erase the program, it can happen. But in this case, then one really becomes one with the path, with the master and the teachings, that like even your cells, pores ooze out these teachings, and then somehow one can give back with their own words. I suppose that because you're so impregnated with it that you don't need to think what to say because it's within you.
Yes, of course. That's right.
That one really becomes just like one with it, that you are the thing.
Yes, definitely. So, yeah.
And so we mentioned in the beginning that 2 episodes before we stopped when Sanjay was here in 1984 in Italy, in the Sanmani Ashram. And then in the previous episode we talked about how you reached to the Ayurveda, which you said now that you began the course in 95, so you have nearly some 10 years, and you said you went every year to India, so I'm sure that you had fantastic experiences looking into the eyes of Sanjan, listening to his words and enjoying his uplifting company. And maybe 10 years time, it's it's not so long, but it's long enough, so it's just a great step. And I wanted to ask if there was any special highlight. Well, I'm sure that there were many highlights, but if there is something specific which you could or you would like to tell us, to share with us in this podcast, which happened in between these 2 things which we talked about in between 84 and 95.
Well, in the beginning, I wasn't writing an account of these programs. I began writing an account in actually 1987. And from then on, in this my book, biographical book, there are all these accounts which I wrote during these programs. And in this I relate so many beautiful experiences regarding to these trips to India and programs. So many.
And did you ever send these accounts to Sanji?
No.
So it was your personal diary?
It was my personal diary. To Sanji, I was writing letters. I wasn't sending these accounts. He didn't ask us to send this account, as I do actually with people. I tell them, because now there is internet and it's very easy to send by email these accounts, and I can read them, I can use them. At the time it was paper, so for Sanji reading the accounts of all these.
It would have meant a meter of paper, maybe.
A big number of people who were going to his programs would have been impossible, simply impossible. Anyway, next time I can read some extracts from these accounts which I was writing when being in these programs, and so you can listen to some of the very extraordinary experiences I was having during these programs. They were always very, very deep for me, even before I reached the ashram. During the trip, sometimes we stayed in Delhi for 1-2 days before going to Rajasthan. So we Satsangis, we met together and we meditated, and already during these meditations there would be such waves of grace, of upliftment, going very deep into my cells, I would say, saturated with bliss and ecstasy, really. And when I was with Sanji during these programs, meditations were just wonderful, and darshans were just wonderful, satsangs were just wonderful. I enjoyed all of these so much, really. It was just looking back, I wonder how lucky I've been, how lucky I've been to be so deeply connected with his master and feel so much his energy, the grace pouring from him. I feel so lucky, really, because I know it's not for everybody like this. Even now I see during the programs, people who attend my programs, I see that most of them, they are deeply connected, but not everybody. Mm-hmm. So to be deeply connected with the energy of a master, what emanates from him, it's such a good luck in life.
Yes, it's a really great helping factor, I believe.
It's a great blessing, really. So I was always very blessed. All these programs, that's why I kept going and going at all these programs. Whenever I had money enough to go to a program, I just went. And that's how I spent all my money, going to these trips in India and attending these programs and like this. I didn't spend them in buying cars, in buying fancy things or fashionable things. No, I didn't care. I never bought a new car. I always had second-hand cars because my money I would prefer to spend them to go on these trips and attend these programs.
But I also imagine it must have been so exciting when one purchases the flight ticket and then you're on the list to go with with one of the groups which were going to Sanji, and then the day comes, no? Then you go to the airport, and from the ashram it's quite a trip already. Then you have to go to Roseto, go to Rome, then you take the flight, and then go to Delhi. And so I imagine, I mean, I can feel what an exciting event or series of events it could be, no? Like, and arriving in Delhi, then meeting the Satsangis, and like I don't know what could be a good English term for that, but like in the Christian culture they use this term before Christmas, the Advent, not the time of the hopeful waiting for the arrival, no? And then somehow for the realization of this God incarnating on earth, no? And then I imagine it was something like this, no? Like an Advent, when the time of the journey comes, and then you arrive in Delhi, and then I mean that on one hand one probably would have liked to run right away to the master and just look into his eyes and sit at his feet, but also on the other hand I understand that it also must have been very beautiful, this kind of waiting, not that it took then several days, no, because it's a long process. It's not just like decides to go to India and then you jump and you're there. No, then you need preparations, as you said. No, that one needs to have sufficient money to buy the flight ticket. And times before it was even more complicated to buy flight tickets, not online like we do now with the clicks and paying with the bank cards. No? So you had to go to a proper agency, book the ticket. So I think it must have been quite a exciting process to all. And then when you arrive to Rajasthan, I imagine, I'm not quite visual, so I'm kind of seeing in front of my eyes that you arrive, the group arrives with the jeeps, and there is the big gate of the ashram, and then you enter, and we're here. And then when the first meeting, the first darshan with Sanji, finally, so
he was always there waiting for us when we arrived. He was in the courtyard sitting on a chair. So we arrived and he was already there, and we just ran to him, and
beautiful. That was very kind of him, I think, to give this gift to the groups to wait for you.
Well, he knew when we were meant to arrive, more or less. So
well, and then he also knew that you go just for him, not for the ashram.
Yes. Okay.
So he gave you what you wanted.
What was meant to be given, what was meant to happen.
Like it is written in the bhajans that the Guru gives you the unseen thing, the Guru gives you the good things. So he really gave you the good thing.
To me a lot, really.
So I really look forward to hear more details about these your regular journeys to India and more retreats with Sanji. So thank you, dear Master, for sharing all these great insights of yours with all of us, and I hope everyone enjoyed as much this conversation as I did. It's always wonderful to listen to you, always very clarifying or enlightening, how to say. Lots of questions come up always, but it's good because then we can always continue. So thank you very much, dear Master. And as I said, don't forget that we have the Daily Guidance Meditation podcast, which is available on our podcast directories. And then after 2 weeks comes the next episode, and now we can enjoy the beautiful mantra sang by Master Sirio. So God bless you all, and if you have any questions for the forthcoming season, then you can send them to me to the siriopodcast@gmail.com.
Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I bow down to you. Hazur Maharaj Sanji, Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I adore you.